Welcome to week 4. We're almost halfway finished with the course. As you can see by the title, this week we're going to begin working on research writing and presentations, and these are going to be your last two major assignments for the course. So you're going to see the pace change a bit because we're going to be taking more time to prepare the assignments. You're going to have many other smaller assignments before we actually get to writing the paper and creating a presentation. So you can see here that you've got 3 assignments for this week. You're going to do a topic proposal. Now this topic proposal is going to look much different than the ones you have been doing. So it's very important that you read the directions and follow them closely. You're also going to create a research plan, and then finally you're going to locate 5 sources to begin your research for the final paper and presentation that you will create. So we're going to begin by looking at the assignment sheet. It's going to tell you what we're working on here, getting you ready, as I said, for the research paper and presentation. So we will begin with a topic selection. And the first major thing you need to keep in mind is that the paper you're going to write is called an argumentative research paper. Some people also will call this a position paper, and it falls under persuasive writing. So what it means is that you're not just going to be researching a topic to tell me about it. You're going to research a topic and then you're going to argue a position. You're going to make a claim and you're going to support it with research. So the first criterion that your topic has to meet is it has to be controversial. Now, controversial, as we think of it in everyday life, we think that has to be some huge topic that people are very passionate about, like gun control or abortion or prayer in schools or any of those type of topics. So what we need to understand here is that controversial actually means what the definition shows you right here. Reasonable people disagree. So if, let's say that Richmond CC has a parking issue, and I may think of one way to solve it and you think of another way, that means the topic is controversial because as reasonable people we can disagree about it. So I don't want you to fall into that trap of thinking you have to choose some larger than life topic that people become very passionate about. In fact, what you'll see is that I have a list of topics that you are forbidden to write about, and it's simply because of these high levels of controversy. All right, so you're going to choose a topic. All right, then you're going to, as I said, it's going to become a different topic proposal. It's going to cause you to narrow it down, and you will have to make sure that you have approval for your topic. So you're going to need to submit those topic proposals as soon as you possibly can, because you don't want to wait until the last minute and then you've proposed a topic that will not be accepted for the assignment, and then you've gone ahead and created a research plan and found 5 sources. So I highly recommend that you complete this topic proposal as soon as you possibly can. If I were a student and this week was before me, I would get that in tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest. All right. You notice here, possible topics for research papers. I give you a separate document with links to possible topics, and you also need to pay particular attention to the document that says forbidden research topics. So I'm going to show you those. Then you have specific instructions on how to do the topic proposal. Again, at the risk of repeating myself again, you must follow the directions because this topic proposal is different than the 2 you have written in the past weeks. After you submit your topic proposal, you're going to do the next assignment here. You're going to develop a research plan, and I'm going to create a separate short video for you taking you through those assignments in detail. After you create your research plan, then what you're going to do is you're going to find 5 sources of information for your topic. Now, these types of information should look familiar to you because you have just had to find 5 sources of these types this past week for your bibliographies. So again, you're going to have 2 scholarly or peer-reviewed articles. You're going to have this time at least 1 internet source, and then you have 2 of your choice. So it's understandable that many people choose to go forward with the topic they did for the annotated bibliography. That's fine, but make sure that is a topic that is controversial, one that reasonable people can disagree about, and make sure that you have these source types. All right, those are the 3 assignments we're going to complete this week. So before we go further with the assignments for this week, I'm pulling up the document that tells you the requirements for the final assignments. All right, so first of all, as I mentioned before, you're going to create a final research paper. Here are the requirements for that assignment. You have your choice of following either APA or MLA format, but you're going to need to make a choice this week of which format that you're going to want to write the final paper in. The paper will have to be a total of 3 to 5 pages, no less than 3, no more than 5. Now that means 3 complete pages top to bottom, and that means no more than 5 at the bottom of the page. That page total does not include a cover page or abstract if you write in APA format, or a works cited page or the reference page for your sources that you use in the paper. You have to have a minimum of 5 sources of information in this paper, and they must be cited in correct format, so APA or MLA. You're going to cite those works on a works cited page if you're using MLA, on a references page if you're using APA, and then they're also going to have to be cited within the body of your paper. Those are called in-text citations, and we will be covering those in the next couple of weeks. Your paper must be submitted in Microsoft Word format. Absolutely no other formats will be accepted. If you have not purchased Word, you do have access to Office 365 through your email, and also there's a separate link at the bottom of the Richmond CC webpage. One last reminder here is that when it comes to these last 2 assignments, there will be no wiggle room for late papers. They must be submitted on time. So right now you have that late policy in effect that you can still turn assignments in for up to a week after to receive possibly 50%. For these last 2 assignments, which will be your paper and presentation, they must come in on time because there is not time left in the course for late assignments. Another thing here is that building on the discussion board you just finished for this week about the help sources you have available to you, the Ask a Librarian, the OWCC, Upswing Tutoring. If you use any of those, you can earn 5 bonus points on the score for your paper if you get help with the paper. And then if you get help for the presentation, you can earn up 5 bonus points for that assignment. So I'm hoping that all of you will take advantage of using a help source. All right, the requirements for the final presentation. The presentation, first of all, we're going to do something called a presentation plan in the weeks ahead. And so your presentation has to follow that outline that you create. You can make the presentation in whatever format you choose. You might do PowerPoint, you might do Prezi, you might decide to use screencasts like I'm using for these videos. But it does have to be a visual presentation. I don't have to see you if you don't want to be seen on on camera, but I must hear you, so you're going to have to narrate it. The presentation has to be a minimum of 4 minutes in length. It can be no longer than 7. So you're going to need probably to practice and make sure that you're hitting in between those time requirements. You can have other people in your video of your presentation to assist you. Sometimes people like to have someone change the slides of their PowerPoints. They may assist in a demonstration. They might be interviewed, whatever. But you must be the primary person who is speaking and presenting. You also don't want to include too many visuals in your presentation so that it's only you narrating a few sentences and the rest of it is videos of someone else talking. But we'll get into that more as we work on the presentation outlines. All right, I give you here's some more information. You can submit your presentation as what's called a freestanding PowerPoint, which means that when I push play on your PowerPoint, it will automatically go from screen to screen and I will hear you. So it's not just adding narration to each slide, it's actually timing them. You can also submit your presentation by creating it, uploading it to YouTube, and then you give me a link. And then you also have the option of visiting the Oral and Written Communication Center, where they will film your presentation for you and help you to submit to YouTube. Now, given the situation with the campus and COVID-19, I don't know if in-person appointments may be available for those options, so that's something you'll have to check and see if it's available when the time comes. I do know that our 8-week classes are starting on June 15, so it could be that those services will be available. As soon as I have any information to that effect, I will let you know. All right, you do have to have it in again on time. You cannot have any late work. And as I said before, if you use a help source for the presentation, then you can earn 5 points. And just a final note on that, if you use the resource only one time, then if you use it for your paper, it'll be 5 points. If you use it for your presentation, it'll be 5 points there. You must have 2 separate appointments. It can be with the same help source if you want, but you have to have 2 separate appointments to get 5 bonus points on both your presentation and your paper. Okay, lastly for this video, I'm going to go over the next 2 documents. One is called the possible topics for your research paper and presentation. As always, you are not confined to these topics. If there's another one you want to propose, you are free to do that. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you're going to want to submit these topic proposals as soon as you possibly can in the coming week, because you don't want to invest a lot of work in a topic that may not get approved. So you're going to see that there are numerous topics here that are potential ideas to get you started thinking about what you want to do for your paper, or something that you may be interested in that's related to what you see here. So for instance, you have this one, should animals be used for research? Now maybe you are interested in doing a topic about animals, but you don't necessarily want to talk about research. In that case, you might choose another controversial issue about animals. Some people look at them specifically related to makeup testing, cosmetic testing. Some people look at the issue of using live animals as mascots, or they might be looking at particular reasons for species to be endangered and arguing about what needs to be done. Same thing with cell phones. There are many ways that cell phones could be dangerous. You could talk about privacy issues with cell phones. So all kinds of ways you can go off of any of these topics. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically what's written here. But again, get those proposals in as soon as possible. Okay, now we have the next document, which tells you that these topics are forbidden. They will not be approved. All right. And then I note that this list is not final. Other topics can be added to this, so there's no guarantee that what you propose to me will be accepted until you've submitted it, and then I've recorded a grade and said it's okay, or I've given you feedback to say, no, you're going to need to choose something else. So this is the list. Capital punishment, we're not going to write about that. Abortion, we're not going to write about. Legalizing marijuana, euthanasia, violent video games and behavior, lowering the drinking age, prayer in school, gun control, corporal punishment or spanking children, or vaccines and the link to autism. Now, the reason that these topics are on the forbidden list is because these are topics that have been debated and debated and debated. And you as a student at this point in your career, of your academic career, probably will not have something original to contribute to the argument, which means you would simply be researching what other people have to say. All the issues related to capital punishment have been brought forth and are argued. People disagree about it, yes, but there's nothing new for you to bring to the argument. Same thing with abortion. Legalizing marijuana, it's become a state issue at this point. Everyone has advanced the arguments for and against. Euthanasia, the right to die, that has been covered as well, and so have the others. It's not a prejudicial stance that I have about these topics. It's simply that I want you to choose a topic that you, as an individual, have some experience with or have a particular interest in, rather than these high controversial topics. Stay away from them. You don't need to try to rewrite what's already been written. I would rather you pick a different topic about which you can bring some original experience or knowledge or interest in.